In the 9th station of the cross, Jesus falls for the 3rd time. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. A reading from Lamentations. It is good for one to bear the yoke in youth, to sit alone in silence when the Lord has imposed it, to put one's mouth to the dust, there may yet be hope, to give one's cheek to the smiter and be filled with insults. For the Lord will not reject forever. Although he causes grief, he will have compassion according to the abundance of his steadfast love. Nearly there. As we reach this 3rd of Jesus' falls in the painful procession to Calvary, we marvel not only at the appalling agony of the ordeal as he flails in the dust of the street, but that he has the strength to get up and go on. Making our way around the stations of the cross is a moving experience. But if that's all it is, then we're missing the point. There's a danger that we see the Jesus of the Passion narrative as an object to be pitied, like the man of sorrows in the book of Lamentations. Poor Jesus, we think, as we see him in the dust. And Christian piety can often tip into mawkish sentiment. But the Passion narratives of the Gospels have a different feel to them. It's not so much that the pain and the agony of it all is the focus, but the relentlessness of the purpose of God that is being carried out. Jesus gets up again to carry out the will of the Father. There's an obedience that drives him on. At every moment of his life, there's a union with what God desires. And in this world of sin, oppression, and violence, that leads him to this point of the shedding of his blood. The one who is walking to his crucifixion is the one we have followed through his ministry of healing and reconciliation. And in the stations of the cross, we see that we can't deflect the love that comes through in life and death. Jesus might be lying in the dust, a sign of humanity at its very worst, rejecting, excluding, murdering the one who bears the love of God in his words and works. It looks like we've finally managed to push God out of the picture altogether. But the drive of the Passion narratives is God in Jesus gently but firmly pushing back, doing exactly what his nature is: loving, forgiving, healing. So the path to Calvary is already bathed with the gold of Easter. God's mind is focused upon us for mercy and for life. He will always survive our sin, our failure, capable of renewing us again and again. He is the resurrection and the life, even as he lies on a Jerusalem street covered in blood. That's the good news that touches us in our repeated falls. The weakness of God, writes St. Paul to the Corinthians, is stronger than human strength. It's not that God seeks to impose himself upon us, to force his way through. He makes himself vulnerable because his power belongs to a different order altogether. Perhaps you know the story that comes from 19th century France of the young soldier who makes a bet with his comrades. He'll go into one of Paris's fashionable churches and make a kind of mock confession, telling as many sins as he can think of in the most lurid and vivid of ways. He does just that, contemptuous of faith and pleased with his inventiveness. When he finally finished, there was a long silence. And eventually, from the other side of the confessional, the priest spoke. "My brother, I want you to go and stand in the middle of the church and look up at the big crucifix that hangs there. And I want you to say, 'You did that for me, and I don't give a damn.' And I want you to say it for as long as you can." Off that military officer went, and he stood there, and he looked up, and he tried to do what he had been instructed to do. He couldn't. Instead, that young man was to eventually join a monastery. You see, the defenseless love of God changes hearts and lives, and it knocks our own quest for power and prestige sideways. Lord Jesus, Man of sorrows and Lord of glory, look with mercy upon me, that despite my falls, I lose not my hope for holiness and happiness. May your strong love blossom in the desert of my heart to raise me up and give me a new beginning, even today. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us.